Drag makeup tutorial, baby. Let's go. Starting off once again by popping off the shirt, popping on the wig cap, cleaning the sides of the face with rubbing alcohol, my standard procedure. Wig cap went back on, it came off I guess, and now putting Prozaid on my face to apply face tapes. This is also my standard procedure, but I went a little further this time. I applied face tapes to my temples, I applied next to my sideburns, towards the top of my cheekbone, and then I cleaned off an area by my mouth and applied some Prozaid there in preparation for face tapes. In the meantime, while I waited for that to dry, I put on some Elmer's glue stick to block out my eyebrows and put face tapes on that spot near my mouth. Fooled around with them a little bit. At first I had them wrapped, pulled under the ears, and then I pulled them up over my ears to give a creepy little smile situation. Popped on a headband and put a ring of Prozaid around my forehead, and then some Prozaid above my lip. And I pushed my lip up into the Prozaid. Now you will see what happens in a little bit. It wasn't really a necessary step because I use scar wax and both of them were not really needed. I put my wig on, tried to put a wig cap over it, didn't work out. Sprayed some heavy-duty hairspray to keep the flyaways away from my face. I've been putting my wig on first lately. I am not going to be doing that going forward. I have decided today it doesn't really help much at all. I put Prozaid around my upper lip, and now I am putting scar wax on top of that Prozaid once it dried a little bit. This is why it wasn't really necessary to push my lip up. I was doing that to give, the illusion of a different lip shape, but I ended up just going over that with scar wax anyway, and then the scar wax ended up pushing that glued spot down, so it was not necessary at all. I should have either, in retrospect, stuck with scar wax or pushing the lip up. Not both. Not necessary. So, as I've mentioned in previous videos, this scar wax is supremely sticky and very difficult to work with, but it is of, I think, a superior quality if you can get it to work right. I have been using my fingers of late to try to mold that scar wax. I will be getting some sculpting tools because I could really use it. Fingers work okay, but not really. I then went in and cut the scar wax. I didn't really have anything with me, so I used one of the elastic bands that I pulled my face back with. There's a little metal piece at the end of each of those, so I just used that to cut the classic, Heath Ledger Dark Knight situation. This is actually the first time that I've done that kind of slit mouth. I've dreamed about doing it ever since I saw that movie, and I'm actually just now realizing this is the first time I actually did it. Hey! So I got some new black for my body paint, and what I opted for is a water-based body paint. It comes off in the shower, that's a huge plus, and it just goes on real nice and smooth and even and dark and lusciously, and I set it with some setting powder just to be sure. I was going for a kind of, small neck, small shoulders illusion. You see I have the black background there. It didn't really work out that much this time. I mean, it did technically, but I wasn't too pleased with the shape that I drew. The small neck and the shoulders, it just didn't really look right, in my opinion. I went in, by the way, with liquid foundation, and now I'm going back in with a concealer highlight, which is almost the same shade as this foundation. Since doing this makeup look, I have gone ahead and purchased a slightly darker foundation than the one that I used in this video. And now going in with a contour. For my darker colors, I use rather orange colors, and this is because about a year ago I took a quiz online to try to determine what my skin shade was. And it led to this sort of orangey foundation. Just going in, contouring the nose, highlighting the nose with the concealer and the darker liquid foundation, and powdering everything with a beauty blender. I dipped the beauty blender into translucent powder. And now going in with eye primer. This is a heavy white cream eye primer from P. Louise. And I set that powder with a sort of cream shimmery eyeshadow. And now I'm carving out my new crease. Us drag queens, we gotta overdraw our creases. I mean, we can get away with not. It does seem that the super glamour queens do a very subtle overdraw. And I do enjoy doing that myself from time to time, but it's a balancing act. I tend to start small, and then over time with each makeup session I go bigger and bigger and bigger, and then I reel it back in and go smaller, and on and on and on in an endless loop. So, okay, how about I talk about what I'm doing here? That sounds like a good idea. I am adding progressively darker colors to the cut crease in smaller and smaller amounts and blending it all together, and this gives the illusion of depth. And I extended it below my eyes as well, and now I'm marking out my eyebrows and going in with another eyeshadow from the same palette that I used for my eyes, and again progressively adding darker and darker colors in smaller and smaller amounts, this time to give the illusion of little hairs. And here and there I'm dabbing some white underneath the eyebrows. Now I'm going in with a cream Mehron stick, white, underneath the eyebrows to give it that extra oomph of highlight, and I went over that with powder and sort of blended the cream out with the powder. And now I'm going in with a black Mehron stick for the eyeliner. I've been thinking about eyeliner a lot lately, and I think I will get some liquid eyeliner. This stuff works excellently in a pinch, but the color fades, and I think that's really going to be the main benefit of using a liquid, official eyeliner. I think that the color is going to be much darker and more stable. So I'm just filling that in with the same cream, and then as I fill it in on each eye, I am powdering it with a black eyeshadow. And now going into those corners there with a white, the same Mehron stuff, and now I'm powdering that with the same shimmery cream white eyeshadow. Dusting off the excess translucent powder on my face, and now it's time to sculpt my face with powders. I have a cold, by the way, excuse me if I sound a little stuffy. I use pressed powders. This is another thing, like the Mehron stick, for eyeliner. It's not common practice to use pressed powder. I find it so much easier, but there's got to be a reason why the loose powder is used by all of the professionals. At least I think that is the case. Not sure. Anyway. So I finished with the powders, and I added blush, and now I'm going into the lip area with a purple eyeshadow, and that is the base color that I started with to start working on the scar wax. I just went in with some black eyeshadow into the cut area, the Joker mouth area, and I'm just going in with different colors and progressively getting darker, adding some bruise effects. I'm adding some blue in there, I'm sure. And now I'm going back under my eyes. I decided that I needed to extend the under eye. I wanted to give a sort of tired, bags under the eyes kind of look. There's something I find really attractive about bags under the eyes. I'm not sure, so I try to just stick it on myself. And now I'm going in with a liquid lipstick. I decided to use this purple color that I've had sitting around and haven't found an opportunity to use until this moment. So I went in with that, and I think I was trying to figure out what to do. Ah, yes, and then I started to add drippy purple blood. And this is the concept that was behind this entire look. I started each look. I start with something else. Sometimes I start with like the contact lenses that I'm going to use, and then the makeup expands from there. Sometimes I start with the eyes. The eye design. Sometimes I start with the lip design or the mouth design. Sometimes I start with a scar wax idea. Sometimes I start with a neck and shoulder paint idea, and then the rest of it just sort of blossoms from there. This time I started with the idea of a sliced mouth dripping whatever color blood I decided to put on my lips as lipstick, dripping down and forming a costume from the drippy blood. And if I were to do this again, I would not add all of this color down there. I would just do the crisscrossy, veiny stuff all the way down. I'm not sure if that's entirely true. I like the way that this looks right now. This is the first time I'm watching this since last week when I did this, by the way. What I think I would actually change is I would get rid of the black on the shoulders and just extend this whole costume around my normal, my natural body shape. Because the illusion didn't work anyway at the end of the day, not really. And it would have looked cool. Setting everything with translucent powder, dusting off the black area in preparation for photos and video, spraying everything down with a setting spray, and now adding shimmer, forgetting in the process to adjust my camera angle. Adding shimmer to the cheekbones, I think I added some to my eyelids. I'm starting to pop in my contact lenses now. There we go. I changed the camera, popped in some orange contact lenses, which was very exciting because I love these contacts, and I don't use them that often because I tend to put orangey, yellowish, red colors on my face a lot. And it doesn't always work with the orange contacts. I am now putting lip gloss on the lips and adding some to the drips down my face. I tried to do my blood splatter trick by dipping a toothbrush into a liquefied purple makeup. Didn't work out. Did not work at all. Popping on the eyelashes. This is always a pain in the ass. And that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and here is the final transformation.